welcome back to another epic countdown. Today, we're counting down the 8 biggest landslide election victories in UK history. We're about to dive into the most dominant performances in British politics. From the dawn of democracy to the present day, we're exploring it all. So, without further ado, let's get started on our countdown. Let's find out who made it onto our list of the 8 biggest landslide election victories in UK history. 8. Margaret Thatcher, the leader of the Conservative Party, had been in power since 1979 and had already won 2 previous general elections in 1979 and 1983. However, her popularity had begun to wane in the mid-1980s due to a combination of factors, including high unemployment, industrial unrest, and internal party divisions. The 1987 general election was called by Thatcher in June 1987, and it was seen as a major test of her leadership. The Labour Party, led by Neil Kinnock, was seen as a strong challenger, and many polls predicted a close race. However, Thatcher's campaign focused on her economic record, including the implementation of policies such as privatization and deregulation, which had helped to boost the economy. She also emphasized her strong leadership during the Falklands War in 1982 and her handling of the Cold War. On June 11, 1987, the results of the election were announced. The Conservative Party won an overwhelming victory, gaining a majority of 102 seats in the House of Commons. The Conservatives won 376 seats, while Labour won 229 seats. Thatcher's victory was the largest Conservative landslide since 1945, and it marked a significant increase in her party's majority from the previous election in 1983. The election result was seen as a major endorsement of Thatcher's policies and leadership. 7. The landslide election victory of William Gladstone in 1880. The 1880 general election was called by Gladstone in June 1880, and it was seen as a test of his leadership and the Liberal Party's policies. The Conservative Party, led by Benjamin Disraeli, was also seen as strong contenders. Gladstone's campaign focused on several key issues, including the abolition of the death penalty for treason, the expansion of primary education, and the reduction of trade tariffs. He also emphasized his opposition to the Conservative government's handling of the Irish Home Rule issue. Meanwhile, Disraeli's campaign focused on his own record as Prime Minister, including his handling of the economy and his role in promoting British imperialism. On July 31, 1880, the results of the election were announced. The Liberal Party won an overwhelming victory, gaining a majority of 335 seats in the House of Commons. The Conservatives won only 202 seats. Gladstone's victory was the largest Liberal landslide since the Reform Act of 1832, and it marked a significant shift in British politics towards progressive reform. 6. The election was held on May 1, 1997, and was widely seen as a referendum on the Conservative Party's 18-year rule under Margaret Thatcher and John Major. The Labour Party, led by Tony Blair, had been out of power since 1979 and was seeking to end its 18-year electoral drought. On May 2, 1997, the results of the election were announced. The Labour Party won an overwhelming victory, securing a majority of 179 seats in the House of Commons. The Conservatives suffered a crushing defeat, losing over 100 seats. The landslide victory gave Labour its largest majority since the Attlee government in 1945 and marked a significant shift in British politics. Tony Blair became Prime Minister, ending nearly 2 decades of Conservative rule and began the decimation of the country. 5. The election was held on June 9, 1983, and saw the Conservative Party, led by Margaret Thatcher, facing off against the Labour Party, led by Neil Kinnock. The campaign was marked by a series of high-profile debates between Thatcher and Kinnock, as well as controversy over the Labour Party's abysmal handling of a Falklands War-related issue. The election saw the Conservatives win 397 seats, with the Labour Party winning only 209 seats, and the SDP Liberal Alliance winning 23 seats. The election was a decisive victory for Thatcher and the Conservatives, and marked the beginning of their second term in office. 4. The Labour government fell in October 1924 following a vote of no confidence. The Conservative Party ran an effective campaign that capitalized on fears of socialism and communism. The Conservatives received strong support from the media, which helped disseminate their message and criticize Labour. The Conservative Party won 412 seats out of 615 in the House of Commons, giving them a large majority. Labour was reduced to 151 seats, and the Liberal Party, led by H. Asquith, won only 40 seats. The Conservatives received around 46.9% of the popular vote, significantly more than Labour's 33% and the Liberals' 17.6%. Baldwin's victory marked the beginning of a period of Conservative dominance in British politics. Baldwin would go on to serve as Prime Minister for most of the next decade. 3. John Major's landslide election victory in 1992 was one of the most unexpected and significant in recent British political history. The victory came as a surprise to many, given the widespread belief that the Labour Party, led by Neil Kinnock, was poised to win. Major's campaign included personal, down-to-earth tactics, such as his famous use of a soapbox to give speeches directly to the public. This approach helped him connect with ordinary voters and present a relatable image. The Conservatives won 336 seats out of 651, giving them a working majority. Labour won 271 seats, and the Liberal Democrats secured 20. The Conservatives received 41.9% of the popular vote, while Labour got 34.4%, and the Liberal Democrats received 17.8%. The victory was widely unexpected, with many polls and analysts predicting a Labour win or a hung parliament. The result reaffirmed the Conservative Party's dominance in British politics. 2. Robert Peel's landslide election victory in 1841 was a pivotal moment in British political history. The late 1830s and early 1840s were marked by economic difficulties, including high unemployment, financial instability, and poor harvests. These issues eroded public confidence in the Whig government, led by Lord Melbourne. Robert Peel was seen as a strong and capable leader. His previous experience and pragmatic approach to governance made him a favourable alternative to the Whigs. The Conservatives won a decisive victory, securing 367 seats out of 658 in the House of Commons. The Whigs were reduced to 271 seats, reflecting a significant shift in public support. Peel's victory allowed him to implement significant economic and social reforms. His government introduced the income tax, the Bank Charter Act of 1844, and ultimately repealed the Corn Laws in 1846. 1. Henry Campbell Bannerman. The election saw the Liberal Party achieve a decisive win, dramatically shifting the political landscape. The Conservative government, led by Arthur Balfour, had been heavily criticized for its handling of the Second Boer War 1899–1902, which was costly and controversial, causing public discontent. Rising unemployment, poor working conditions, and social inequalities contributed to widespread dissatisfaction among working-class voters. The Liberal Party presented a united front, contrasting with the divided Conservatives. Henry Campbell Bannerman's leadership was seen as moderate and progressive. The Liberal Party won 397 seats out of 670 in the House of Commons, gaining a substantial majority. The Conservative Party, along with their Liberal Unionist allies, won only 157 seats, marking a significant decline. The Liberal victory led to significant social and political reforms, including the introduction of old age pensions, national insurance, and other welfare measures. This period laid the groundwork for the modern welfare state. And that's a wrap. We've counted down the 8 biggest landslide election victories in UK history. From historic upsets to crushing defeats, we've seen it all. Whether it was a victory for progress or a rebuke of the status quo, these elections have left their mark on the nation. So, if you want to learn more about the elections that have shaped the UK, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell.